Welcome back, friends. So today our topic is has include. We have already discussed the header files stdio.h, conio.h, and we are not going to discuss has include. What does it mean? Has, why we include it, or why we write it before stdio.h, our header file, or conio.h header files, and how it works in our program, and what is the main functionality of this program, this words in our program. So in our last lecture, I told you that the screen that we are seeing, it's Turbo C++ screen, and the things that we have written now on our blue screen, it's source code. Okay, and in our source code, the first thing that I write, or the first thing that we will write, it has symbol from our keyboard, then include, then in angular bracket we can write stdio.h or any other header files that I want to use. So basically in our programming language, or in our C language, hash symbol is pronounced as pound. Hash is pound, means we usually in our daily life we can call it hash, but here in programming language we can call it pound also. And hash include, inclusively, hash and include, these two words will be called as, we know it as preprocessor directives. Okay, so hash include is preprocessor directives, and hash we can call it as pound symbol also. Okay, so what does this preprocessor directives do? So we just separate these words, pre, then processor, then directives. Pre means first, before means we do anything. Pre, processor means process, directives means these are the symbols that we need to, that will do something there in our program. So basically what does it do before compiling our program? So we know in header files we have several functions. Okay, I have already told you some functions name, get ch, put cs, these all things in our last lecture, that it will be there in our stdio.h function, conio.h function. They have the function that is related to our console input and output, from how we will get the input and how we will display the output on the screen. So there are some functions written in those header files that is provided by our Borland Turbo C++ editor. So now as we need to use those functions in our program, then so we have to write hash include. This will help us to include those header files functions, the function, the code that is written inside that particular header file. It will help us to include those things in our program. So basically what happens, once we compile this program, we have saw the screen in our last lecture. What we have saw, we have saved the program, and once we compiled our program, we saw the lines compiled was 460. However, the total lines written here is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. We have written only 6 lines, but it compiled 460 lines of code. Okay, so preprocessor directives do it once the compilation starts. Okay, once the compilation starts, before compiling the code only, it removes these 2 lines of code, what we have written with hash include symbol. Okay, what we have written with hash include, whatever we have written with hash include, it remove those lines, means it will remove hash include stdio.h and hash include conio.h, and it will embed, or it will write those lines of code. Not write, it will be done in the background only. You won't be able to see those things, but it will remove these 2 lines and replace it with these 2 lines and replace it with the number of or lines of code that has been written inside these header files, whatever we have included, what we have written here in the angular bracket. Means if we have, I can compare it with you. We have 2 header file included here. Okay, stdio.h and conio.h. So total number of lines compiled 460. And once we have included only stdio.h, we have not written the conio.h. The lines compiled was 313 lines of codes only. So So there is something happening with this particular code. How the lines of code get increased? That is because of this preprocessor directives. Sorry. So has include will replace these two lines, these header file lines, with the actual lines of code that is written in those header files. So what we call this now? The lines of code that is compiled, the code that is already compiled, we know it as expanded source code. Expanded source code, why? Because it is now in the expanded form. We don't have any hidden things. Our program means we have included the header file, so we have hidden the actual code that is written inside the header files. We are just writing it as has include stdio.h, and we got the chance, we got the permission to use the function that is written inside that header file. But now once compilation starts, before the compilation start, it replace preprocessor directive, replace those header files and replace it with actual lines of code, actual source code, actual functions that are written inside that header file that we have included. Okay. And one more thing it does, if we put any comments, I'm not sure how many people you are aware with the comments, how we write comments in our C program. We will see it in our next coming lectures, but just for your information, by replacing the header file lines with actual source code, it also remove those comments from our source code. The preprocessor directives do this thing also. So there are mainly two functions that this preprocessor directive has include performs. It replaces the header files with actual lines of code or actual source code or actual functions that are written inside that particular header file, and it also removes if we have put any comment in our source code. So that is all about has include, means preprocessor directive. If you have any doubt on this, please ping me, or you can put your comments in the comment section. We will definitely get back to you with the clarification. However, you can write to us on this email ID also, tutoriallive@gmail.com. If you are learning something, if you are thinking that you are getting benefit from this tutorial live lecture, then please like, share and subscribe it with your friends also. So that's all for today. We'll discuss, we will come with our next lecture where we will discuss the void main. And yeah, there is one more technique how we can write the stdio.h. We can write it in single quotes also. So we'll discuss that also in our next lecture. So till then, thank you. Bye bye.